Hello, my name is Faisal Khan, and I am a banking, payments, and a licensing consultant. And today I want to discuss a little bit about money transmission. This is my website, and the link is given over here. It is also in the description below. And what we want to discuss today is the licensing regime in the United States, specifically with respect to what may be called a payment institution license or an EMI license. The United States doesn't actually have any of that. It just has something called a money services business. And if you're classified as a money services business and you are doing transmission of money, you require what is called a money transmitter license. And in the US is one of the unique places where you can think of each state as being a country on its own. So each state requires a license. So it's not suffice to say that you are in Florida, and just because you're doing online from Florida, where your business may be registered, where you may be physically present, that you don't need a license anywhere else in the US. That is incorrect. You would actually need a license in all the other states, quote unquote countries, if you can define them as that, and you need to get a licensure over there. So how does it work? I mean, if you what if a transaction is originating from outside the United States and is being terminated into the state of Texas? Do you still require a license? Yes, you do, because the license says you need a money transmission license if you are signing up a customer from that state where the origination of funds may be happening or where the termination of funds may be happening. Another thing that people think is, well, what if I just, if I'm doing business in Texas, if my servers are in Texas, if my compliance is in Texas, if my license is in Texas, and my website and everything else is in Texas, do I really need a license in everywhere else in the United States? Just because I have a license in Texas, but I need a license in Georgia? Do I need a license in Illinois and so forth? The answer is yes. As I said, consider each state as a separate country and then think, are you sending a transaction or picking up a transaction from that country? If you are, then you need to be licensed in that state. Another misnomer that people think is just because it's online, you're exempted from licensing. You're not. You are required to have a license. And one common mistake that people, well, not a mistake, it's a question that people ask is, what happens if I sign up a customer if I have licenses everywhere except Texas, except California? Well, can't customers from here sign up? Well, that actually is dependent on you. Your website or your app should be as such that they need to ask if the customer is based in Texas, if the customer is based in California. And if they are, they should not be allowed to sign them up. And in the case of a transaction coming in, if the end beneficiary is in one of these two states where you do not have a license, for example, then you should not be able to pick up that transaction. So this is very important. So the easiest way to understand the United States licensing regime is to think of each state as a separate country. And when you think of it as a separate country, then you can ask yourself a question: do I have a license in that country? Do I have a license to operate in that country? And so forth. So that's what we will be talking today. And essentially what we want to talk is, we want to talk about your options. We want to talk about, how can we quickly understand the entire licensing regime in under, let's say, 10 minutes. And that is what we are trying to do. Just FYI, I have done other additional deep dive videos on, for example, some of the options that I will show you, and those are also included in the links in the comments, and you can go and review that. We have some very detailed pages that, for example, if you want to get your own license or you want to know more about your options and you have specific questions, those are also answered. So anyway, without further ado, this is what the, let's just zoom it one more time. There you go. Well, maybe one less. So this is what the US money transmission licensing option flow would look like. So you have 4 essential options available to you. The first one is owned, which means you own the license. It's a new license application that you will file for, or maybe you will buy the license in your name. But anyways, these are licenses owned by you. The second option is you can become an agent of an existing license holder. And in that case, you could have the arrangement for physical location only, for online only, or you could opt for both online and physical location. The third option is being white labeled by someone, and a white label is something where you don't have any. It's you don't have any exposure. You don't have anything. It's simply white label. You don't have to do anything other than provide your logo, and that's it. And you're not liable for the compliance. You're not liable for licensing, registration. You're not liable for anything because everything is provided by the license holder themselves. But this is the one that everyone is interested in. Not just the agent one, but the sponsorship one. A sponsorship basically means, for the lack of a better word to use, and I will caution you, please do not use this word. The regulators frown upon it. And that is, sponsorship is essentially renting a license. So how do you do it in a legal way? Well, the legal way, there are two ways of doing it. There's something called a program manager. And the program manager basically means you are going to be working with a license entity. You're going to be integrating with them. You're going to be having a compliance program with them. You're going to be doing everything necessary to satisfy the license holder, the PLH, the principal license holder's requirement, such that you can then build apps on it, on their systems, with their system, in their compliance reporting and transaction monitoring system, etc., etc. The sponsorship can be a bank. Banks don't make program managers easily. It's a very, very difficult task to be a program manager for a bank and be sponsored by them, or be an agent of a bank. The agent of a bank, by the way, is something that people just keep bringing up in conversations, and I tell them it's super, super difficult and takes up to a year or more, and you require a lot of finances for that. But being a program manager for a bank is also something similar. It takes about a year. And what that does is, you say to the bank, or you say to the license holder, hey, listen, I'm going to integrate with you such that tomorrow when you want customers, they can just integrate with me because I'll have all the APIs, all the necessary procedures and flows, etc., for them to interact with. And, they can become customers of yours through us. The other thing is, you work with so you can become a program manager yourself, which, like I said, takes about a year. Or you can become an ISO, an independent sales organization, with a program manager which already may be in place, in which case you simply provide, you have a technology agreement, you may have a sales and marketing agreement, you may have a customer support services agreement, and you'll have one sponsorship agreement through the program manager with the actual license owner. So these are your basic requirements that you have, or rather your basic options that you have: your own license, agent of an existing license holder, being a white label, or being a sponsor. And in sponsor, you can be a program manager yourself, or an ISO through a program manager. As an existing license holder, you can have physical location, you can have online location, or you can have both. To understand more on these, what are the costs involved? What are the legal responsibilities? Do you have to register with FinCEN? Do you need your own compliance officer? What is it that you can do? Is it crypto friendly? Are you in the flow of funds or not, etc.? Like I said, we've done a video on it, as well as a page that enlists all these elements in a table. You can click in the link in the description below, and it will take you to that page. As always, if you have a question or a comment, please don't hesitate to ask. The whole reason we're doing this, or I am doing this series, is to make people understand the very basics, because it seems that this kind of information is not being put out there, and that's what we're trying to do. Anyways, as always, take care of yourself. Till next time, this is Faisal Khan, signing out.